I have 3 translations here because I'm like Dan. I love these translations. What it is that one person studies, well, like I have this translation where this man studied the Aramaic. And I have the New King James, which is the King James, which is our, as growing up, I was raised on King James. So that's and what do they say? 40 scholars helped them so they could be the only ones that's right. Besides Jesus talked in King James. No. That's man's words. That's man's words. So I learned some things because that was the only Bible I had for many years. I didn't know anything else. But these and thous, even though we didn't talk that way. Some of my dad's people did. They were an old order. Some of us were the modern brethren, and others were the old order. And so they had to speak that way. So they were making their work sound like they were talking like in the days of Jesus. But that, they should have spoke Hebrew and Aramaic. Jesus taught in Aramaic and spoke Hebrew in the church. Similar languages. If they want to go back there, they'd be a little more correct. But my ancestors and family, they're wrong in thinking that you have to say thee and thou all the time. So I even have some King James that took out and just changed and then has the translation without that. And that's mainly what the New King James did. So I might be reading from King James, and I might be reading from the Passion Translation, which came out of the Aramaic. And I have, now I forgot the translation that, some of the notes I got out, and I forgot what translation that had. Because I got them written down and I didn't write the translation, which one it was. So I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to skip chapters 1, 2, and slip over to chapter 3 right now. And I'm going to do it for a reason. And in chapter 3, I'm going to be reading this from the Passion Translation. There's power in your words. My dear brothers and sisters, don't be so eager to become a teacher in the church. Some people, oh, I want to get up, I want to go teach, I want to go preach. Oh, I got to do this and that. But if you're not being led by God, you shouldn't be teaching. Dan is led by God to be teaching. We know that. We feel that. Hans has been led by God to be teaching and preaching. We know that. And Ed, and so forth. But many times, many people get up to teach, and they haven't been led by God. I don't think it's as much in Maranatha Chapel, but it's in many churches. There's many teachers. They get their own set way. They lock themselves in one. What was the word, Julie? One.
Saved and stuck.
Pardon?
You mean saved and stuck?
Yeah, the other word for one type of churches. I know.
Fundamentalist.
Fundamental. They get a fundamental principle of the Bible, and they decide that's it, and draw a line, and then they teach only that way. We got to go by what the Word says, no matter what anyone thinks, no matter what anyone says. We have to go what it says in the Word. I'll go back here. My dear brothers and sisters, don't be so eager to become a teacher in the church, since you know that we who teach are held to a higher standard of judgment. Of course, if God calls us to be teaching and we refuse, we still got to answer to God, because He might want us to teach. Many times He wants us to teach maybe individually. Maybe He wants you to teach somebody right next door, somewhere else. You don't know where He's calling you to teach. We all fail in many areas, but especially with our words. Yet, if we are able to bridle the words we say, we are powerful enough to control ourselves in every way. And that means our character is mature and fully developed. That's what we were speaking on today. And that's what we have to do. But we can only do that through Christ. Only through Him. And as soon as we get back into the flesh, we're no longer developed. Many times things to be taught. Things that I know. And all of a sudden, my mind goes blank. I don't think it did that before. But it does now. And sometimes Dan will say, Mr. Floyd, where are we at? I don't know what happens. But it does that. But that's okay. I love God. And many times that I can't even think of what to say, all of a sudden I've seen Him give me just the right words to say. I've seen that all my life. And many times somebody has a problem. And you come up to them. And you have no idea what the problem is. And all of a sudden God gives it to you. And you minister to them. And you minister to exactly what they need. Horses have bits and bridles in their mouths so that we can control and guide their large bodies. And the same with mighty ships. Though they are massive and driven by fierce winds, yet they are steered by a tiny rudder at the direction of the person at the helm. And so the tongue is a small part of the body, yet it carries great power. Just think of how a small flame can get a huge forest ablaze. People have thrown out a little cigarette and has burned down the forest. A little tiny butt from the cigarette and it burned down the forest. A little. And the tongue is a fire. So we have to watch. A little word said wrong can turn somebody away. Turn them away from God. And God says it's not His will that anybody be lost. So we need to pray for wisdom for every word we speak. We don't want to be the cause of anyone going astray, of anyone not serving God anymore. We don't want to be that one that's doing that. We want to do what He calls us to do. He wants everybody to be saved. And that's not going to happen because people are not going to do it. But we don't want to be the one that's causing it. And the tongue is a fire. It can be compared to the sum total of wickedness and is the most dangerous part of our human body. It corrupts the entire body and is a hellish flame. It releases a fire that can burn throughout the course of the human existence. Many words wrongly spoken have caused many problems in many throughout all existence. So words are very important.
Amen.